Hey guys, this is TheEnder, and this is going to be Game 2 of the match between Mong and Larva from the SBENU Superfight number 3. Once again, the format is a best of 5, and there's 2 best of 5s, and the winners move on as part of the King of the Hill type of thing to the next Superfight. So, prior game we saw Larva playing sort of aggressively, and essentially just whittled down Mong's economy really great with early rushes and then the Muta harass. And he won it with some really beautiful stop lurkers, which, I mean, it was almost like a train wreck. You know, one of those slow motion train wrecks. You know it's going to derail, and then it gets to the point where it's about to derail, and you hold your breath, and it's like, it's going to happen, and then, poof, it does. Yes, stop lurkers are awesome. So there's several ways you can do it, I've heard. I've never actually tried it myself. One of the ways is to burrow lurkers, and while you're burrowing them, hit like stop a bunch of times. And then essentially what happens is, even when Marines come into range and the lurkers can see the Marines, they won't attack them, they won't auto-fire on them. And so it's essentially just a trap. Since lurkers can kill Marines in 2 hits, you burrow 2, maybe 3 lurkers, you tell them not to fire, and then you wait until the Marines are directly on top of them, and the lurkers can kill like all the Marines in a single shot or 2. It's just a great, little tactic. So, alright, Larva's going for some craziness, and I say that because he hasn't, I don't know what he's doing. He sent out a drone at a really early time. I still don't know what he's doing. Is it a drone scout? Is that all he's doing? So it looked like he scouted the middle of the map for proxies, then he scouted upper right. Now he's taking what I'm guessing is like a 12 hatch. But I mean, he sent out like his 8th drone to scout. So that, I don't know, it's just so weird. Maybe he's concerned that Mong would be mad after the events of last game. But no, Mong is just going for a really standard opening. Supply into barracks on 13. And so yeah, drone gets in the base, sees no gas, sees the barracks, sees the Marine pumping, and the drone should go home pretty soon. Yeah, alright, he's going to go home. Because of course once that Marine comes out, the drone's going to make a break for it. What? 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 I was going to say for a second it looked like the drone was going to do a proxy hatchery. That doesn't work in StarCraft 1. Okay, fine. There's one game where I saw it and it worked, and it was just so beautiful. I'm trying to remember what the setting was. I do remember that the 2 players involved were Hyuk and Zero, and so it was probably an SKT versus Woonjin Stars game. And in case you guys don't remember those players, of course Zero, Zero's still playing. He was considered to be one of the most creative players in the day. But Hyuk was he was the worst good player that you'll ever see. I mean, he was the guy that he'd do flawless Muta micro, and really great ZVZs. Like he could take on Jaedong in a ZVZ, but he would just make stupid mistakes at random points in random games that would just completely lose him the game. It was like he alt-tabbed out or something. It was that bad of mistake. But anyway, so here Zero is, and Zero's a creative player, but not very good at like microing things. And he was especially bad at ZVZ, as far as like the matchup. I mean, I think he was like best versus Protoss or something. But yeah, Zero wasn't that great at ZVZ. Mainly people were saying it was because of his Muta micro not being good enough. So he went for this creative build. So the map was, I believe, Match Point, which was funny to see 2 Zergs on there since it's not a Zerg favored map. It's only got 10 bases on it, and you can split it down the middle. So, if you get into it, a long game versus a Protoss or a Terran, and you split the map 50-50, which was really easy on this map, the Zerg was in just a terrible spot. But it was ZVZ, Match Point, Hyuk versus Zero, and Zero went for a proxy hatchery, a proxy 12 hatch inside of Hyuk's base. And it's like, oh my god, how can you do that? I mean, a 12 hatchery means, in ZVZ, I don't want to say it's suicide, but it means you got to be super lucky that if your opponent doesn't scout you. And here it is, a 2-player map, and he does it inside his opponent's base. So it's like, it's an instant loss if it gets scouted. I mean, instant loss. But Hyuk never scouted it. And so finally, Hyuk, he moves out with his Zerglings. And in this entire time, Zero's been like massing Zerglings inside of Hyuk's base from his proxy hatchery. And so yeah, it was awesome. And so Zero actually won that game. I know I was confused. But alright, back to this game, because this game is shaping up. We saw the lair is done, and it's actually a lurker rush from Larva. Now you don't see this very often, and mainly because it's one of those, if it gets scouted, you're somewhat screwed. But alright, so we saw the fast lair, we saw the Hydra Den. It can only be lurkers. He's going against a 5 racks opening from Mong. So, to put it simply, if he can keep Mong from pushing out across the map for maybe another 40 seconds, he's going to have a huge build order advantage. Because of course, the 5 racks assault that Mong is going for is really great against Mutalisk. You get that +1 really fast, you get a lot of Marines really fast. The Marines are super effective against the Mutas, and you just really need to, you get out the Marines, and the Marines can, not only do they push it away, they keep you from taking any damage. The Zerg tries to go for the fast hive, and you just overwhelm them with a ton of Marines. But Mass Marine is not the least bit effective against lurkers. So, yeah, it looks like Larva is very smartly canceling his 3rd base, because he wouldn't be able to defend it, and he doesn't want to lose it. But, yeah, so it looks like the lurkers are going to be out. So not only is he going to defend it, he's going to save a whole lot of resources by skipping the Mutatech and the Mutalists. Usually, a lurker rush like this is actually like an attack. But it's possibly he's going for more of an economic lurker rush into a fast hive. You don't see this very often. Usually it's the other way around. Usually the player goes for... Oh, but they're there! The lurkers are down! Nice pick-off there. 4 Marines, 1 shot. And he's got lurkers on the ramp, so he's going to be able to hold a new 3rd base at the upper right. Are they stopped? They are stopped lurkers! First skewer, how many is it going to kill? 1! 2 skewers. Oh, nice. And of course, those Marines weren't trying to, or the Zerglings weren't trying to engage the Marines there. They were just trying to slow the Marines down so they could take another lurker skewer. But yeah, so this is this is different. It's not a lurker attack. It's like a defense rush. But I like it. So yeah, there are lots of build orders where you go for the Spire, you get the Mutalisk out, you skip the Hydra Den and go for the fast hive, and then you just you get your fast ground armor, and it's really good. But usually, it's not done like this backwards. So see, we already got the hive, and the Spire's not even done yet. But it's working great for Larva. Maybe it's only because his opponent Mong went for the 5 racks, which means you really won't have the time to get out the the scanning, not the scanning tech, but the the science facility. And without the science facility, you really can't push out on the map because you run into lurkers and stop lurkers. So yeah, this is going great for Larva so far. His 3rd base is possibly, a bit later than he would have liked, but it is safe, and his hive is just super fast compared to the first attack. I mean, usually it's... Alright, so the hive is done if that Nidus is building. But yeah, it's the Terran's job to, What? That was odd. But yeah, it's a Terran's job. You gotta push across the map and, really start trying to put pressure on the Zerg when they try to tech like this, because once the Defilers come out, I mean, Zerg gets so much map control, because these Marines just, under Dark Swarm, they can't do much, and then, if they get hit by a Plague, of course you get to hear the caster scream, but, the Marines just die so fast, they got so little health. But alright, let's see. I mean, he does have to be careful, since he only has 3 bases. With 3 bases, you might also have, Larva concerns. Of course, in StarCraft 1, that is a very major problem, not having enough Larva. Alright, so we have double sunken at the natural, protecting the Nidus. Defiler Mound already done. First Evo Chamber done, likely researching, once again, the ground carapace. And there's a really low vessel count, since, once again, it was at 5 racks. So lurkers are being forced back. but no losses yet, so pretty good. As you can see, the lurkers aren't just like standing on top of the ramp, they're slightly up it. And the idea is to make sure that the Marines cannot like get a nice arc at below the ramp and still fire on them. But alright, consume is done. These lurkers are going to be completely safe. Base is defended already. Very nice job with the timings from Larva here. Looks like Mong is going to counter by just taking a quick third base of his own. But will he be able to? Looks like Larva is thinking about taking the fourth base at the natural for his third. He's got 3 defilers out, likely all with full energy now that they have consume. So yeah, it's time for the fun part. I mean, he's got his hive tech. He's got his bases safe. All that remains now is for Larva to, you know, get his units controlled properly and push across the map. Now, since the Terran is still only on 2 bases and he's got a pretty densely packed base, it's sort of unlikely that one of the Zerg's favorite strategies is to go for like lurker drops and dark swarm drops. I don't think that's going to be usable right now. Like I said, mainly because of how densely packed the base is. Ooh, really nice pickoff from Mong there. Got a free defiler. And it looks like the science... oh, nice. Siege tanks on the low ground are going to save that drop of Marines. Additionally, another defiler got sniped by an irradiate. Oh, what? No! Stupidest Scourge ever. Ran right by the dropship. You gotta be really careful. Man, that Nidus has like 50 HP, maybe less. And Niduses are super, super expensive. Oh, but without the defiler... Alright, defiler's out. I'm gonna say without the defiler, the front could be broken. But yeah, it was also a really nice play having the siege tanks on the low ground, firing on the Zerglings, trying to stop the drop on the high ground. I mean, yes, these Zerg units are really cost effective when you get to the hive tech and you have the dark swarm, but Terran can still abuse some mobility. Looks like there was a problem land. Oh. I think Larva's going for some funny stuff. He's got a Zergling that can probably see the hidden fourth base, and so he's building a proxy hatchery, probably for a Nidus. Funny stuff. I think I lost my train of thought somewhere. But yeah, so with those dark swarms and with those lurkers, Zerg can defend really cost effectively. I mean, they can do like a sort of funny to say it, but like a Terran defense in how they can hold off a far greater number. Just because the enemy units can't get near enough to them to attack. Oh, the proxy hatcheries. Drop at the fourth base of Larva. Looks like it's going to do a whole lot of damage. I don't see a defiler anywhere. Drones are pulled. Only one drone goes down, which is pretty nice. There's a Nidus. Nidus is going to go down. Mainly due to some really annoying positioning of those Marines. The rest of the drop goes down in the third base. Once again, drones are pulled. Not all of them. Really great multitasking by Mong, and let's be honest, Zerglings are not that great at cleaning up drops. Mainly because you can drop them in such annoying locations. Whoop! Oh man, what is this? Scourge go to intercept the drop, but there's Marines just like randomly there waiting to snipe the Scourge. Additional Scourge coming in. Could they get it? 2 more dropships, full units. 1 dropship goes down. 2 dropships. All right, both dropships go down. Zerglings don't look like they're going to barely be able to clean up. Oh, the proxy hatchery gets found. And there's like 6 Marines, Rambo Marines, in the main base. Ooh, and that drop at the fourth base doing tons of damage, tons of drone casualties. This is really great multitasking by Mong. He's literally winning fights everywhere. I mean, he's harassing 2 bases at once. He's stopping the harassment at his fourth. And, yeah, I mean, Ultra's tech is coming up, but if it doesn't come up soon, I mean, Larva could literally just bleed out due to all the harassment everywhere. I mean, he's already lost, like, 2 Niduses. Oh, but Zerglings spawn out of that base. There's no defense. Those four Zerglings in the 4th base of Mong, they could literally just wreck the entire SCV line because they've got the crack upgrade. I mean, look how fast they attack. They're just nuts. All he has to do is A-move them. There's 2 factories, but, I mean, factory units versus the Zerglings, it's not cost-effective unless you micro. Does it drop it into natural? Scourge are chasing. Alright, it drops only 2 Marines before going down. But major attack in the natural. There's 2 lurkers, they go down instantly. There's 3 Sunkens, but they're in a really weird positioning. Alright, we got a single Defiler out. He casts a Dark Swarm, and there's Zerglings under the Dark Swarm. Alright. So 3 Zerglings are going to defend that base. Once again, it looks like the Proxy Hatchery is going to go down. But we've got Science Vessels going for the Eraser in the main base. You do not see that very often. Eraser is the general term for a Science Vessel irradiating a nearby Science Vessel. And then, of course, you just put it on patrol move. And so any drone or Zergling or whatever small unit that runs under it gets the effect of the irradiate. You don't want to irradiate individual drones, mainly because they die too fast. So if you just irradiate another vessel and have it patrol, you know, you can get it to work a lot better. I'm pretty sure I saw another barracks going down at the bottom left position. That's a slightly odd. So it's possible that Mong is actually going for, like, biomech. Because as you can see, there's a pretty decent siege tank count, but there's still a lot of Marines. It's a really hard build order to, you know, to like control your units. But if you can, it's really powerful. And there's a surprising number of vessels out, man. I mean, you look at that. We have 5 lurkers all irradiated and a Defiler irradiated, all for free. That was just energy. Man. Mong is doing an excellent job of being super cost efficient. Even though he's behind on tech, he's not able to do the direct attacks he wants. He's doing great with the harassment. I mean, yes, he's probably lost maybe 4 or 5 dropships to Scourge. But I mean, he's done so much dropship damage, just on the few that have gone through. And once again, with all the Defilers irradiated, he's trying to push in again. Backs out at a great time. Looks like he might lose a vessel. He loses a vessel. Ah, very nice. Half a dozen Lings into the 3rd base of Mong. Managed to take out several SCVs. But oh no, Ultralists are out. 4-2 upgrades versus 2-2 on the Marines. So actually pretty decent. Oh, and a second group of Ultralists took out another force. Oh, this is not good. So Mong has done an excellent job keeping the enemy armies away from his main base by doing all this counter-harassment. But finally, with the Ultralists out, it looks like Larva's going to start pushing in. There's no medics. Why are there... Oh, there's the medics. They're taking their time. It looks like Mong is just barely going to hold. Wait, there's another Ultralist from behind. Oh, man. I mean, Biomech is an awesome composition. So if you are able to control it properly, you have your siege tanks fire on the Ultralists and have your Marines just take out the Zerglings. And that actually does work pretty well. I mean... Marines versus Ultralists, they don't do well. The Ultralists just absorb too many shots. But throw in those tanks, and tanks do 70 damage plus upgrades per shot. I mean, that's just so powerful. I mean, you saw those Ultralists just like melt there. And this Vessel Cloud, I don't know how it's gotten so big, considering the number of Scourge hits we've seen. Of course, right as he says that, he picks off all the Scourge. But yeah, Vessels in the late game, they're just super cost effective. Not sure what they're saying. Bit of talking. Looks like once again the harassment of the 3rd base of Mong is going to be cleaned up. And here we go with the not an eraser, just a mass irradiate. Let's see, does the Defiler have the... No, he's just going to cast Dark Swarm, no Plague. So of course if you can cast Plague on the vessels, it won't kill... Oh, there's the Plague! Oh my god, that was a beautiful Plague! The Defiler came in from behind, plagues all the Marines. Oh man, if Larva can catch that army and then run in with some Scourge, that would be so beautiful. Of course, you really want to get a Plague off on the Vessel Cloud, so that a single Mutalisk can just like chase them down, and every glaive takes out like... Oh, look at that! Oh, they just got so slaughtered. Oh, sorry if I'm laughing. That was just such a beautiful cleanup by Larva there. All right, he's got so many. I mean, all you need is like 2 Defilers, 3 Ultralists, and 2 control groups of Lings, and you can just crush so many Terran units so cost-effectively. And so far, Mong's done such a great job keeping Larva on the back foot with these, harassment everywhere. but the Ultralists are out. The upgrades are so good. The Zerglings got 3-3. I mean, just one other thing to say is, you know, if the Zergling upgrades are even, you know, close to the Marine upgrades, then the Zerg is ahead. I mean, pretty much any, you know, any other race that's going against Zerg, you really want to have better upgrades than the Zerg. I mean, that's just how it works. You know, if you're Protoss, you want to have your attack upgrades higher. If you're doing Marines, you're going to want your attack upgrades higher, and even your armor maybe even. But having both even, that's just a huge advantage for the Zerg. Now this fourth, and now it's a fifth base too. So Mong has done a great job holding that bottom left position. I mean, he did it right. He built a second group of factories, and like I said, I think he even had a barracks there. Oh, here's a big engagement. We got a Dark Storm and a Plague. Ultralisk closing. A lot of those Marines are going to go down. Tanks are coming in from the back to support. Looks like they're forcing the Ultralisk away. But man, look at all the tanks at that bottom left position. I would not be surprised. Even with all these huge losses that Mong has been taking recently, he's just mining so much. I want to say he's on... Looks like he's on even bases with the Zerg. He's got 5 bases. The Zerg is barely on 5, maybe trying to get a 6th base up at the same time. But yeah, somehow or another, Mong is just like super mining right now. But alright, Zerglings are coming in. If the Zerglings can close with the tanks, they can just do so much damage. Medics are doing an excellent job at blocking, but there's Dark Swarms everywhere! Oh man, Dark Swarms everywhere. Zerglings close with the tanks, Ultralists close with the tanks. And once again, Mong is pushed past, back to his bridge. Oh, so nice. Not good. We're seeing D-webs on the tanks, but the D-webs are getting broken by the Ultralists just because they have so much attack. Not D-web, D-matrix, sorry. So, my understanding... Yeah, and the Ultralists have broken through. Alright, so this is a game. So Larva's got this. Looks like tanks are moving out from the bottom left position. They're going to the main to help defend, but it's just, I mean, tanks are so expensive. You can't have them engage Zerglings and Ultralists. I mean, Zerglings cost 25 minerals, and oh, so Larva's like, what now? But yeah, this Zerg hive units. Alright, he's got the 5 armor, only 2 attack upgrades, but he doesn't need it. He's got the armor. That's important. So we're gonna see a GG really soon. Larva played a great game. I loved his build order, and there it is. There's the GG. So Larva goes up 2-0 against Mong. I gotta admit, that was a great game. And Mong, he looked like he was holding on pretty well for a while. It was just, you know, that as soon as he stopped, you know, harassing, all of Larva's attention got focused on attack, and just all of those main engagements in the middle of the map, Larva just completely destroyed. So, alright, we are going to be going to game number 3 in the next video. I will see you there.